Hey folks, and welcome. This is the first episode of Tiger's Repainting Tricks, a series where I aim to help you advance your flight simulation repainting. Now, the first two things we're going to cover today, these were both questions I got asked by a friend of mine. You may know him as Gold Star Textures, or the face behind Gold Star Textures anyway. And it was about weathering, and another one which we'll get on to later. But weathering itself is an easy art if you know what to look at. So we're going to get right down to it. So in here we're looking at my Avro Vulcan facelift. Okay, doesn't matter the aircraft I'm going to use, principles are still the same. So we're looking at my Avro Vulcan facelift. I've redrawn all these panel lines. I've still got the gear doors to sort, as well as all the decals, some of the access panels on the underside, etc. But that's getting off track. Weathering, right? So let's just take these panel lines down. Now the first thing you can do is just duplicate your current panel lines. Call it panel lines dirt. Okay, we're going to bring the opacity back up, and we're going to go filter, blur, Gaussian, and about 5 should work for this. Now as you can see, it's added this blur to all the panel lines. Great, I'm going to take this down to about 6 though. There we go. If I hit save now, and we have a look again in 3ds Max, you'll see we've got this dirty edged look, or overshaded. So it's just like model making. You put on some pre-shading and it makes all the difference. Now one thing you can do is I'm going to turn on another layer here, call it dirt, put in a new layer, rename that Speed Dirt. Now this will be for the dirt that gathers on an airframe. Usually when you're at low level you pick up a lot of dust, and if it's damp that dust will stick to the aircraft and streak along. So what you'll probably need are some cloud like brushes. Cloud brushes can be easily found. I've got a load of them, as you can see there, like that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the size right down, and I mean right down, probably about 12. And in my brush settings, as you can see, we've just got this smooth line. If we now go to scattering, get a more diffuse line, and then into shape dynamics, and we play around with the angle jitter, the size jitter. I don't think dual brush is going to be of benefit to us. So yeah, we've got that. We can increase the spacing like that. And then if I put on some marks here, let me just clear off my graphics tablet. So many snack wrappers on my desk. Right, so we're going to put on some speed dirt. Now it usually follows horizontal panel lines, so we'll just draw on some areas like so. It'll gather in this area, so we draw a slight curve up into it, like that. Let's see, where else do we want some? Some will gather in here, from where it's been sat on the ramp. Along here, a bit down into there, not too much. Let's see, where else? The very nose cone. Like that. Bit up here, not too much. It'll gather at the bottom here, so you want a slightly darker patch at the bottom. But you can bring it up a bit. Yeah, you end up with this. So I'm just going to add another few patches, so it's readily identifiable. There should be another vertical line here. This is behind, or right in front of the engine splitter plate. So we're just going to drag in an area kind of like that. And if we zoom out, you can see those clear as day. Now you'll have to apologise if you can hear the lawnmower outside. One of my neighbours is mowing his lawn. So if I save that now, you'll see what I mean about it sticking out like a sore thumb. Like that. Now, way around this is to go to filter, blur. You can either use Gaussian or motion, and Gaussian will do that. Okay, I usually take it to about 2.5, okay, which gives that sort of look. I'll then check it again. Each time I'm checking in 3ds Max here, you will be checking in Flight Simulator. So there's that. So that's just your simple speed dirt, and if you want to get really creative, you can get your smudge tool, set that down a bit in size, and it should do it. And you look at where the fluids would flow if it was sat on the ground. So I'm just going to drag an area down here. I'm going to drag some around this corner. Going to drag a bit out off here because it's where a line meets, like so. Probably drag it down across the entire edge there, soften it out a bit more, like that, like that. And you can take however long you want, really. It's just a matter of getting it on, getting the look. Just going to drag this out a bit more along this line. Go. Drag this up along this line, like so. We'll drag it out a bit more off here as well. Give it that nice used look, as if it's been sat in storage. So as you can see, we're starting to add this streaking. Okay, I'm going to drag it out along this line, along here, and down there. Not really much to play with up here, so you're going to have to rely on your corners, so like that, and like that. Nose cone again, little bit up here, majority horizontal because it's where it will pool. Got to think of water running off the airframe, so if it landed on top of the nose here, the water would run down the nose, round the nose, and it'd pool in any recessed panel line or on top of any standout panel lines. So I'm going to add a bit more than usual to there. Again, and do that like so. And on top of the nose as well, we're going to add a little bit down the vertical line into the horizontal line, and again add a bit of bleed off. Doesn't matter how neat you are, you can be as messy as you like I am. As you can see, we're starting to build up this streaking. I'm just going to drag this out a fair whack, like that. Bring it up here and down here, because there'll be a fair bit down here, I can tell you that. We're going to then streak it out as we did all the previous. Doesn't matter if you get a bit of bleed through like that. We just want to get something that looks pretty good, like so. Now if we check that again, you can see that what we have the base of is these areas where paint has, or where the water has pooled and it's falling down the airframe. So I'm now going to just take that opacity down, like so. We'll have another look, because another look never hurts. Brilliant. So that's the simple way of doing things like vertical streaking. Horizontal streaking is pretty much the same. You can use your cloud brush again and just do random areas in effect. So if I go here, 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 here. You get the idea. Just mess it all over the airframe and go filter, blur, motion blur. Take the angle to where it needs to be. You can see it's blurring at 90 pixels there. Keep it going, there we go. 563, and we have another look at that. As you can see, it's starting to take on some life. Now, the other thing, I know the Vulcan doesn't have one, but jetways. Now, jetways are pretty much of a muchness. They connect to the airframe to let your passengers on and off. So we're going to add a new layer here, and we're going to just do a mock jetway, just so you can see the principle. So I'm going to put it in just a small box here, okay? That's in white. Now what I'm going to do is going to seem counterintuitive to many. I'm going to drop a shadow on it. Make sure it's as dark as you like and quite blurred, like that. And create a new layer. Remove the fill, okay? So you see we've got that now. Merge down. Now if we hit that with a Gaussian blur, you get that sort of effect. Now, this is where the trick comes in. Create a new layer, right click, create clipping mask. And what we are going to do is we're going to use our trusty cloud brush to put in some areas like that. We're then going to blur those out, Gaussian. Somewhere there could be good. I'm probably going to add a few more patches in. Okay, then we can right click or control click on the thumbnail. Go back to our image here, hit delete. And that gives us this effect. Okay, and as you can see, we've got the cloud imprint in there. We can then go filter, blur, Gaussian. Okay, 4.8. I'm just going to move that so it's a bit more visible on the airframe. Like so. Now if we look at it in here, we've got this darkened off area. Now if you wanted to add some streaking to that, it's the same principle again as before. We get our brush, our smudge tool, and we smudge it out. Let's see, just smudge it out along where the jetway would connect. Or if there's water being sat there, you might have a bit going off at an angle as the aircraft picks up speed. Like that. Let's blur that down again, just to make it blend in. Go. Then you might also have a rain gutter. Again, it's the same thing. Just get your brush, put on your darker colour, blur it out, and if it's at the tip of the gutter, well, the water only goes one way from there. Oops, just hit erase, that wasn't what I wanted. Smudge. So the water will go in two directions. It will go out slightly and it will come down. So within no time you've got this jetway effect and the end of the rain gutter. So if we look at that now in the textures, you can see it's dirty and we've got this rain streak. There's nothing to it, it's just a matter of messing with the brushes and the paint brushes and the smudge tool. Now the other thing that was asked is about this here, the British Airways Speedmarque. Now I'm going to show you how to draw this. This is actually easier than most would have you believe. So I'm just going to whip around, quickly draw the shape of it. Not on path, I want a shape. There we go. So I'm just going to whip round, do a quick drawing of this. There. There. up to the point of the Speedmarque. Let's just hide that so I can see where the edge is better. In fact, I'll do that. Click a new point in. Yeah, close enough. Close enough for this tutorial anyway. Then we're going to go up here. But first we out-click this endpoint to constrain it to a sharp point. Draw around here. Back up to the top of the Speedmarque. Down onto the front curve of the Speedmarque. Onto the front curve. Round to the lower curve, that'll do it. And then finally back up to the front of it. Okay, so that's giving us the basic shape of the Speedmarque. Let's just plot in the blue area, another shape tool. Goes from here to roughly here. As you can see, I'm just doing this very quickly. Just want to whiz through it as fast as I can. Like so. Create clipping mask. Hide that, bring the colour back. There we go, right. So now, we've got this. But the question remains, how do you do the pattern? Well, it's easy. Create a new black layer. Okay. Now what I like to use is just a soft edged brush. Quite a large size. Yeah, that'll do it. I'm going to create a new layer above the black. And I'm going to draw in a white line. Roughly where the Speedmarque is. I don't want to be too exacting, but yeah, roughly where the Speedmarque is. Somewhere in that area. So what I can then do is I can merge the black and this white layer. Merge down. If you go to Filter, Pixelate, Colour Halftone. Okay, you can see here. Now, if I recall, the angle is 85 degrees on the BA halftone. That's too big. Filter. Pixelate, colour halftone. Maximum radius is going to be, let's call it 3 pixels, see if that's any better. Alright, 4 pixels. As you can see, because we didn't blur it enough, we get this solid mass, which is not what we want. We can also hit Control I and do the same. Pixelate, colour halftone for all the 85s, and we get that. But I am actually going to blur this out even more. So let's do that. Let's go back to here where we were messing with it. I'm going to take a smaller size brush. And again, we're going to draw across where the halftone pattern is. Like that. We're going to bring the darkness on this layer back up. We're going to blur it out to a sufficient point where it's faded in the centre as well. Somewhere there's good. Control E to merge down, Control I to invert, then go to Filter, Pixelate, Colour Halftone. All our settings are here, we get that. We can then press Control I again, create clipping mask so it's constrained to the BA logo, and then we go to Screen. Got that. I don't know if that's too big for you. You can use your standard tools. I'm just going to draw a box around this and go Edit, Transform Scale. I'm just going to take it back a fair bit, like that. Move it roughly into position. As I say, the larger you draw this, the more control you're going to have over it. So bear that in mind. I'm going to erase out this area, and I'm going to make a duplicate, filter, blur, Gaussian, 4.3 should do it. You get that sort of effect. Now if I show that on the Vulcan, it's not a massive size I've drawn. Control A, Control Shift C, which is copy merged. Paste that onto the Vulcan, just for testing's sake. Edit, transform, rotate 9 degrees clockwise. Okay, hit Control S. In fact, I'll move it down just to put my paint layer in below the bake. Control S, there we go. You can see we start to get the half-tone pattern in. Now, as I say, it's an easy pattern to do, to get the feel of. But as you can see, you get that. I'll say you draw it larger, you have more control over your pixel size and your settings such as that. But yeah, just an example of what you can do is, I'm just going to get rid of this, put this back on, but I'm just going to show you what you can do if you get creative. Duplicate layer. Okay, I'm going to draw in a very rounded box, let's say 50 pixels on the curve, as you can see, like this. Draw that, yes, perfect. Okay, put in our black layer again. We're going to blur this box out, filter, blur, Gaussian. Okay, I need to rasterize the shape, no biggie. Okay, merge it down, filter, noise, pixelate, sorry, colour halftone. Maximum radius we'll set to 8 pixels. We'll set these all to 90 now. Yeah, okay. Control I, normal, screen. As you can see, it's as easy as that. Halftone is a very easy thing to do, fortunately, in Photoshop. So yeah, that's it, really. If there's any more questions, just drop me a message in the comments below, or contact me on several other means. You can contact me through YouTube's messaging, but primarily comments, bloody hell, below. So if you have been, thank you for watching. I look forward to seeing what you request next to take a look at. But as I say, take your time, practice. That's all it's about. Just practice, practice, practice. Again, folks, if you have been, thank you for watching. Take care, and see you in the next episode. Ciao.